Hey guys, it's Amber LaBarbara, and the topic of discussion I chose today is St. Peter's Basilica with an emphasis on its piazza and facade. The origins of the word Baroque are possibly related to the Portuguese barroco, an irregularly shaped pearl, or the Italian barocco, a complicated problem in medieval logic. Work in this era shows complexity, spontaneity, drama, theatricality, and opulence. This concern with emotion produced an interest in psychology in this period of time, and artists represented strong emotional states in their work. Much of it was inspired by the Counter-Reformation of the Catholic Church. This era was born in Rome, where a series of popes wielded power and influence in religion, politics, art, culture. Our book says that this is nowhere more evident than the Vatican in Rome, which, let me tell you, is very true. Here is a picture that I posted just reflecting on the beauty of the Vatican and the effort that so many artists contributed over the course of so many years. This is true dedication, and it's inspiring. In our culture today, we don't have the same influence over art from religious leaders, but I do hope and pray that our churches will still bother to bring the same level of excellence to everything that we do. No doubt, art is inspired by some of the deepest things within a man or woman, which is from God, whether they realize it or not. St. Peter's is in Vatican City, which is the Catholic headquarters, and this is where the Pope lives, one of the most traveled to destinations in Italy and the world. For Catholics especially, going here is a big deal. My former boss actually asked me to get her a rosary from the Vatican when I went to Rome, and she cried when I gave it to her. She grew up Catholic, so. I want to clarify where St. Peter's is on a map of Vatican City because it's actually made up of several parts. St. Peter's, the Vatican Museum, and the Sistine Chapel. So here it is outlined in red. The foremost pioneer of Baroque architecture was Carlo Maderno, whose masterpiece is really the facade of St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. It was constructed under different architects throughout the 16th and 17th centuries, and it's a mixture of Renaissance and Baroque components. The facade is definitely more Baroque style. This is 380 feet wide and 174 feet high. The 8 gigantic columns of the facade are almost 10 feet wide and 90 feet high. Prior to Maderno taking control, St. Peter's had a design already where different architects had worked on it, especially Michelangelo, who we know to be famous, the one who worked on the Sistine Chapel, the Statue of David, and so much more. So when Maderno started to build the facade, he was bound to the already existing Michelangelo plan. He just put the attic all around the building as planned by Michelangelo. He converted the building into a Latin cross basilica by extending the nave and pushing the entrance of the church forward. So St. Peter's can be divided into two parts: the core, which is largely designed by Michelangelo, and the front extension designed by Maderno. The great dome of the basilica is also mostly Michelangelo's work, but Maderno did adjust its proportions by stretching it vertically. The facade contains a number of Baroque elements: double columns, layered columns, colossal columns, broken pediments, and a lot of ornamentation that bursts through. St. Peter's also has a lot of coffered ceilings. A coffer is a sunken ceiling panel, which is typically square or rectangular or even octagonal in shape. The inscription on the front reads, Paul V Borghese, Roman pontiff in the year 1612, the seventh of his pontificate, erected in honor of the Prince of Apostles. The statues on the balustrade represent Christ the Redeemer, St. John the Baptist, and the 11 apostles. St. Matthias is included as well because he's associated with the other 11 in bearing witness to Christ's resurrection. In my last art talk, I discussed a beautiful cathedral in Florence, and I said it's a must-see, but so is this. Anyone will tell you to visit the Vatican in Rome, and make sure you plan at least half a day for it. There's just so much to take in, and it's so inspiring. I really just talked about the exterior of the building, but the interior will take your breath away as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for listening.